frequently buttoned inside a suit of blue moire, thus seeming to my mother a little world entire, sea and sand in my colours, and the lightness of air in my baby voice. She went to her fiery death, still believing that I was a person of honour. In the scented gloom of Amos Treefellow's back room, the place of all our private conversations, she would take my hand and whisper her hopes for my splendid future. What she couldn't see, and what I had not the heart to point out, was that we no longer live in an honourable age. What has dawned instead is the age of possibility. And it is only the elderly, as my mother was, and the truculently myopic, as my friend Pierce is, who haven't noticed this and are not preparing to take full advantage of it. Pierce, I am ashamed to admit, fails to understand, let alone laugh at, the jokes from court I feel obliged to relay to him on his occasional visits to me from his damp Fenland house. The excuse he makes is that he's a Quaker. This, in turn, makes me laugh. So, to me again, whither my thoughts are extremely fond of returning. My name is Robert Merivel, and although I'm dissatisfied with other of my appendages, viz. My flat nose, I am exceedingly happy with my name, because to its Frenchness I owe a great deal of my fortune. Since the return of the King, French things are in fashion: heels, mirrors, sedan chairs, silver toothbrushes, fans and fricassees. And names. In the hope of some preferment, a near neighbour of mine in Norfolk, James Gourlay, an ugly, rather disgusting person as it happens, has inserted a de into his otherwise Scottish-sounding name. So far, the only reward to come to the pompous de Gourlay is that a French wit at my dinner-table dubbed him Monsieur de Gulas. We giggled a good deal at this, and some new scarlet breeches of mine were stained with the mouthful of raisin pudding I was forced to spit out in my attack of mirth. So this is how you might imagine me. At table, rustling with laughter in a gaudy suit, my migrant hair flattened by a luxuriant wig, my freckles powdered, my eyes twinkling in the candlelight, my pudding being ejected from my mouth by that force within me which snorts at sobriety and is so greedy for foolishness. Do not flatter yourself that I am elegant or worthy in any way, but yet I am, at this moment that you glimpse me, a rather popular man. I am also in the middle of a story which might have a variety of endings, some of them not entirely to my liking. The messy constellations I see through my telescope give me no clue to my destiny. There is, in other words, a great deal about the world and my role in it, which, despite all my early learning, I utterly fail to understand. There was a beginning to the story, or possibly a variety of beginnings. These are they. 1. In 1636, when I was 9 years old, I carried out my first anatomical dissection. My instruments were a kitchen knife, 2 mustard spoons made of bone, 4 millinery pins, and a measuring rod. The cadaver was a starling. I performed this feat of exploration in our coal cellar, into which, through the coal hole, came a crepuscular light, augmented a little by the 2 candles I placed on my dissecting tray. As I cut into the thorax, a well of excitement began to fill and glimmer within me. It rose as I worked, until, with the body of the starling opened and displayed before me, I suddenly recognized, caught a glimpse of my own future. 2. At Caius College, Cambridge, in 1647, I met my poor friend Pierce. His room was below mine on the cold stairway. We were both, by then, students of anatomy, and though our natures are so antipathetic, our rejection of Galenic theory, coupled with our desire to discover the precise function of each part of the body in